Today we're going to be presenting about green iguanas and why they're invasive. I'm Brianna.
I'm Alexis.
And I'm Jenica.
So first off, we are going to start with some facts about the green iguanas. Their scientific name is iguana. They are from the reptile species and are known to be a type of lizard. Iguanas can weigh up to 18 pounds and grow to be 5 to 7 feet long. They are herbivore eaters, and we'll go more into that later on in the presentation. They have long tails with short legs, and their tails can be used as a weapon to protect themselves from predators and to also give them some balance when climbing trees. Their long toes and claws can also be used to help them climb as well. Color can change slightly between grayish and greenish, with the female and juvenile males having a brighter color than the adult males. Green iguanas have a sharp row of serrated teeth to help them chew up their plants. Now, where they live is environments that can be found between southern Mexico to central Brazil, Dominican Republic, Paraguay, Bolivia, and the Caribbean. They are also made or seen in the United States as well in Texas and in Florida. They often like to live near water, but like I said before, they are climbers, so they need an environment with trees as well. Along with the climbing, a fun fact about iguanas is that they can fall up to 50 feet and land unharmed, which is crazy. Iguanas prefer high temperatures of about 80 to 95 degrees, and along with these high temperatures, green iguanas need the correct UVB and UVA because their bodies will not be able to produce the vitamin D that promotes the calcium absorption in their bodies.
So before we get into more about iguanas, here's a short fun fact quiz. Which of the following is true about iguanas? So the correct answer is B. Answer A is wrong because iguanas cannot change their color whenever they want or for them to blend into their environment. Their skin is mostly based on their environment. Answer B is correct. Iguanas can drop their tail as a defense mechanism if they are being attacked. They are then able to regenerate their tails, and this is called autonomy, and it's very common in lizards. Autonomy has evolved multiple times throughout many animals. Answer C is also incorrect because iguanas are excellent swimmers. So what is an invasive species? We're going to first talk about what an invasive species is. And what an invasive species is an organism who lives in an environment that it's not originally from. These organisms can cause harm to the environment by taking things away from other organisms or animals that already live there. Invasive species also cause ecosystems to experience extinction. It is important to know why invasive species are so dangerous to the environment. The reason iguanas have become invasive is because many people think an iguana is a cool pet to have. Although iguanas are interesting to look at, they are very destructive and have very big appetites, which causes them to be invasive. Female iguanas lay their eggs by digging large holes in the ground that can get up to 3 feet deep. This causes destruction to the environment and decreases the amount of resources necessary for other creatures. Along with them creating nests, they are able to lay well over 12 eggs in a short period of time, which leads to overpopulation. With a significant increase in population, another invasive problem arises. Because iguanas are primarily herbivores, they eat mostly plants, and the type of plants iguanas typically eat are not just your average plants, but plants that are homes to endangered species, such as the Miami blue butterfly.
Alright, so going off of what Jenica said, green iguanas have voracious appetites, which means they eat a bunch. And they have little tiny sharp serrated teeth that are used to rip apart leafy plants and vegetables. When they chew, they kind of look like puppets, like a hand puppet motion. They don't really have a lot of jaw mobility, just more of an open and closed motion. And you can see that in this silly gif of this iguana eating cereal. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but he's doing it and it's cute, so we're going with that. So why is their hungry appetite bad for places like Hawaii and Florida? They can destroy yards, like Jenica said, by digging, and they also can eat lots of expensive plants used for gardening, and maybe you have an expensive hibiscus, they can range between $150 to $200 for some of the nicer end ones. And so if an iguana eats your super expensive plant, you're not going to be too happy about that. And they might accidentally eat natives, like Jenica said, the Miami blue butterfly. There's also a snail, I want to say. And juvenile iguanas actually need more protein, and so they might even seek out those inverts and bugs and things like that to get their protein intake, which isn't good. Next, iguanas are ectotherms, and a lot of people call them cold-blooded, but the correct term is actually ectotherm. They their internal temperature matches their outside temperature, and so they do prefer warmer temperatures. And Texas and Florida are particularly at risk of iguana invasions because they're perfect for them, where the temperatures usually don't go below freezing. And it's pretty obvious with Texas because a snow day is a dream day for most Texans. And so after a cold spell, which is about 50 degrees or below, they can actually get cold stun like sea turtles, and they'll actually start falling out of trees because they can't control themselves anymore. They just go limp. And they can survive those falls, and they'll actually warm up and act like nothing ever happened. So they're pretty cold tolerant. Um, Next, we're gonna talk a little bit about a story time. So we have this resource. It's basically just a flower that represents all the resources in the environment. We have this native. His name is Tim, and he's a good guy. And then we have Frank over here, who's our invasive example, kind of representing our green iguanas. So how do you think these guys will react to each other? Which is going to be a problem? If you guessed Frank, you're correct. He's better at food gathering because he's more aggressive. He produces 2 offspring per year compared to Tim. Tim only produces 1. And Frank requires more food, so he's going to eat 4 flowers to fill him up, and Tim requires 2. So here's our first scenario. Frank is going to eat most of the food because he's a bigger dinosaur, and he needs more to sustain him. And you can see Tim's giving him the side eye because he ate all his food. He's upset. Scenario number 2, they're going to have offspring. So like I said, Frank has 2 babies and Tim has 1. And the resources have doubled now because they also reproduced and all that. So Frank and all his little minions eat all the food and don't leave much left for Tim and Timmy. So those guys aren't gonna make it for the year because they don't have enough resources. Scenario 3, Frank might be feeling a little extra ravenous, and maybe he eats Timmy by accident. So now Tim's upset. You can see he's angry that Frank ate his child, his little son, but Frank's nice and full, so he doesn't care. And Tim has enough resources for the year, so he survives, but his son doesn't. So that's it. Oh, actually, we want to make sure everybody knows what an iguana is at the end of this. Lots of people ask me if our bearded dragons at work are iguanas, and they're completely incorrect. So all iguanas are lizards, but not all lizards are iguanas. So from left to right, we have an iguana, we have a chameleon, and we have a bearded dragon. They're all lizards, but they're not all iguanas. Now we're done. Do we have any questions?